Hey, editing Josephine here. It's kind of the next morning of the video that I recorded yesterday and that I'm going to show you in a little bit. I was just really contemplating if I should put it up or not. And I ended up reading more reviews yesterday and, trying to really understand what it is that I'm not getting. Why I'm not seeing it as a great writing style or why I'm not seeing the great atmosphere, whatever. And I just wanted to let you know I've really tried. I tried reading it. I tried reading other reviews, like reading the book, reading other reviews, and it's just not for me. So don't get your panties all in a knot while watching this video. Keep in mind that this is one opinion out of many out there, and if you look at the Goodreads reviews, I'm in the wrong, and that's okay. That's what opinions are for, right? And just keep in mind that if I would have known anything about the author or any of the books that he wrote, I would never have picked this up because I would have known that it's not a book for me. But I did, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you. And again, this doesn't mean that I think everybody who likes this book is bad or anything. Anyway, I'm stopping this now. Enjoy the rest of the video with less shaking, and then I'll see you soon with another video. I don't even know how to start this. Seriously. Hi, I'm sitting on my couch. This is my usual reading spot. It's a bit later in the day, so, I'm no makeup, t-shirt, whatever. I don't care. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use this content yet, but, I need to at least talk about it to maybe at least get it out of my head because I don't think I want to deal with this any further. It's just not worth it. So I'm currently reading Empire of the Vampire. And as you can see here, I'm about 100 pages into this humongous book. And what the hell? So this is going to contain spoiler, at least for the first 100 pages. There's going to be cursing and foul language and all of that stuff because that's how this book is. And I need to share some things that are happening in this book because I just do not understand what's going on and how this is something that is actually published. I mean, target audience has to be teenage boys or something. I have no other explanation for that. If you're a cool teenage boy, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you, but I don't need classics or literary fiction all day long. I like easygoing, easy to read stuff, but this is hot garbage. I'm sorry. I know it takes a lot of, the usual yada yada. I know it takes a lot of time to write something like that, but some people should just not write books. I'm sorry. No. I have that Barnes & Noble special edition that has some artwork in it. If you like the artwork, it's fine. It's not my style, but art is subjective, as are books. I heard about it a lot on social media in the beginning, but I have never read anything from Jay Kristoff before. I have a Nevernight copy laying around somewhere, but I've never read Jay Kristoff before, and I actually didn't want to buy it because I found the name silly of the book. But then I was in the bookstore and I've read a review of the author actually saying this is adult, it's not YA, because initially I thought it's going to be a YA book. But I thought, okay, if he's saying it's adult, in general I enjoy vampire lore, and we didn't have a good vampire book in a while. I don't remember anything coming out in the last years really, so I thought, you know what, I'll pick it up. I'm just in the mood for some good vampire lore, and it started out really interesting. So the first 10 pages were really good. What the story is about, it's Gabriel, a half human half vampire. So his father is a vampire, his mother is human, is in a tower, I think, and he is telling an actual full-blood vampire his life story. And by the way, I apologize, I'm sitting in my living room and the air conditioner I think just turned on, so if there are any background noises and dishwasher is running, it is what it is. That's life. Welcome to that. So Gabriel is telling his life story to Jean-Francois, never let Germans pronounce anything in French, so it's going to be butchered, who is the full vampire, or pale blood, or wretched, or there are different other words in the book used for him. He's a prisoner, and he tells him his life story. So the whole book, every paragraph starts with quotation marks, and that was the first thing that started to annoy me. If you do that, just roll with it. skip the quotation marks. It gets really annoying reading that. So, and he basically starts with, you know, this is ma famille and mama and papa and my sister and blah blah blah, and how he grew up in a poor village and he was really poor and stuff and whatnot. And then at one point when he was, I don't know, 15, he got with a girl and all of a sudden he had a bloodlust and started biting the girl and everybody freaked out. And then mama called the people, because she knew, you know, called the people that then took him away, and they were all half vampire, half human, and they created some sort of religious warrior group that fights against the actual vampires and kills them. Like, that's their job. And in the first 100 pages, he's basically going there, and he's getting introduced to a couple of folks there, and has his first challenge or whatnot going on there. And in those first 100 pages, you get a little bit introduced to the world, and, you know, all good and nice. So the premise itself is actually really interesting, but it just gets so immature at one point, the writing. So first of all, it is all in pretend Old English with French words in the middle of it. But Gabriel actually comes from a Scandinavian sounding country, but still everything is oui and maman and frère, and again, I cannot pronounce this stuff, but you know, every yes is oui, and then like there are 2-3 other words that are constantly used in French. But then every now and then you have a nice fuck you in the middle of it, which totally makes sense because that's what people said back then. And then it just is overdone. Like he uses comparisons all the time. Light like a feather, heavy as blah blah blah. The sky was red like the lips that the girl had that I kissed last day, something like that. And it's just awful. And then just too much, you know, it's just overdone. And I started getting, sorry, let me find this. Here you go. It started with when he came into the stables. That's when so we're on page 70 now. That's when it started where I was really, okay, I'm not going to do much more. So Gabriel is brought into the stables by his mentor. I forgot what his name is. And he can pick a horse. But before he can, they're meeting the sisters that are living on the same property. And they are all thin and beautiful. And they're, you know, Gabriel's talking about how dirty the stable is and how much it smells like decay and blech. But the sisters are sitting there in dove white novice robes, being beautiful and drawing horses. I was like, okay, so this is how the women are. Oh, by the way, they also say those half human, half vampire, only men can do that. He's phrasing it in the sense of God saved women from that destiny. But why? So only men can be ripped frat boys? All right. You know, I'm usually, you know, I think it's nice if women are treated better in books, but I have no issues if you have like a close medieval type stories where women are just women, because that was what the time was mostly back then. But this is just too much. You know, this is just the opposite. I mean, this is just taking it to whatever. I'm not even going any further. So he's in the stable, you know, the pretty women in their white clothes are sitting in the dirty stables, and he is picking a horse. And it starts with just this overdone, sorry, I thought my husband comes home, with this overdone, ma famille hadn't owned so much as a sheep when I was a lad. It was only the noble-born who could dream of keeping beasts as fine as these, marveling at the fortune that saw me gifted my own sword and steed on the same day I stepped into the pen. And there in the throng I found him. His stare was deep as midnight, his shaggy coat dark as ebony, his mane was tight in thick plaits, his tail the same, switching from side to side as I approached. I realized he was the same gelding that the talented sister novice had been drawing, and glancing in her direction, I found her dark eyes upon me again. She seemed to bristle as I closed in on the horse, but still, I did. Hello, boy, I murmured. And then he gave him a sugar cube, and then he realized they're going to be best friends, so he gave him a second sugar cube. Oh yeah, that sword, by the way, let me find that sword scene. Where's the sword? Lion Claw is the sword called. Very creative name. In my shaking hands was the most beautiful sword I'd ever seen in my life. Eloise, the angel of retribution, was wrought on the hilt, her wings flowing about her like silver ribbons. Bright worlds of silver rippled along the blade's darker steel, and I could see beautiful script from the testaments engraved down the length. Know my name, ye sinners, and tremble, for I am come among thee as a lion among lambs. All right, so the horse that he got, that girl he was watching while he was approaching that horse, then gets all angry because it's her horse. But so yeah, he is looking, he's approaching the horse, and that girl, Astrid is her name, then yells, "This is my horse," blah blah blah. And the prioress that is with the girls, she is then whacking the girl because she speaks and she's not supposed to have property, you know. "Bag it, whorechild." The girl lifted her head and spat in fury. "Fuck you!" A gasp rang out among the novices. Like, this is the dialogue, seriously, in the book. And then they're continuing, he jumps in. And then, "God's sake, stop! Do you back the Almighty's forgiveness, Astrid Rainier?" Crack! Wee! Crack! Bag then! It's like, what is this for dialogue, people? I cannot. Okay, so we met the pretty girl, and then he sleeps a night, and the next day he goes to his first test, I think, and they're starting to introduce, so there are 4 houses or 4 bloodlines for the vampires, and we're basically getting info dumped what those 4 bloodlines are. And okay, so he gets introduced to the guy who's doing the test. He's introducing himself. "My name is Talon de Montfort, Seraph of the Hunt," the thin man declared in a sharp Elidiani accent. "You will learn to hate me worse than the whore you spat you from your belly and the devil who squirted you into it." He's a bad guy. Okay, we got it. Blah, 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 blah. "My mother was not..." Thwack! Came the sound of Talon's cane across my legs. "Ow! During this trial you will speak when spoken to. Am I understood?" "Wee," I managed, massaging my whipped thigh. Swack! "Wee what, you pig-buggering little shit wizard?" "Wee, Seraph Toulon," I guessed. "Splendid." I mean, I'm reading this for the 3rd time now, and I can still not believe how awful this is. Oh, alrighty. Okay, so where are we going now? Oh yeah. "What do you know of the cold blood who sired you, boy?" Talon asked. "Nothing, Seraph." Swack! "Ow! Speak up, you ill-bred twat-waffler." They're trying to figure out to which bloodline his father belonged. And there's the info dump starts, basically. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. "Now, I need ask this question like the world needed your mother to shit you into it. But are you at all versed in the divine mysteries of chemistry?" Written like chemistry, but with a Y, so CHY. My heart quickened at that. Chemistry was a dark craft spoken of in hushed tones about my village. My maman once told me it was something between alchemy, witchery, and lunacy. But to be on the safe side, I shook my head. Talon sighed. "Then let me enlighten your so-called mind, you spunk-brained fuckweasel." And then he explains what that stuff is. Blah, blah. "What is that, Seraph?" "This, you lack-witted piss-puddle, is Sanctus, a chemical distillation of the essence in your enemy's veins." "You mean that's..." He nodded. "Vampire blood." "Fuck me," I breathed. "The testaments name sodomy a deadly sin, so I'd rather not." What a great joke. I chuckled, thinking he was making a jest. Swack! Ow! "What happens if I don't?" Swack! Ow! This is the conversation here within I'm on 1 page here, people. Oh, I realized that was the sensation I felt. The Seraph was in my fucking head. It's just, who talks like this? "Or Voss's kin will pluck them right out of your shit-witted head." Oh, this is just, and if you read that, this is within 2 pages that "Now, the monster who bellied up your mother belonged to one of these 4 lines." Which grown-up talks like this? Seriously. There was one more that I nearly forgot. While he's describing the 4 bloodlines, one of them, the seraph nodded to a third banner, a heart-shaped shield set with a beautiful weave of roses and snakes. Blood Ilion, the whispers, a line more dangerous than a sack full of syphilitic serpents. Oh, you gotta love this. Oh, and then there's the scene where he is smoking that stuff, the dried vampire blood. And he's basically describing how he gets high. And I'm like, really? Do you really have to get high here? I mean, it's just bad. Like, why is there a need for this stuff? Okay, and then I'd been raised deep in the one faith. I'd gone to chapel every Pleiade as a boy, still said my prayers before I slept every night. I loved God, feared God, worshipped God, but for the first time in my life, I could actually feel God, his love, his power made manifest in me. And I moved then, as if my shoulders were crowned with angel's wings, the wretched mouth with a gape, tongue swollen between its fangs. So he's high and he has to fight a vampire to figure out which of the abilities from the 4 bloodlines he has, basically. So make me angry, boy, make me furious. I swack, do it, make me feel it. I don't swack. 7 martyrs, fucking stop it. Give it to me. Yeah, that's where I am. So here we are. I have to give up. I mean, at one point I was thinking about hate reading it and continuing and just having fun laughing at all this, whatever this is. Oh my goodness. So you know, I mean, you know, if this is stuff you love, more power to you. You know, everybody loves books differently. Everybody loves different writing, which is totally fine. This, in my book, is hot garbage, and that's all it is. And I'm sad I spent so much money on this book. Unfortunately, I don't have the receipt anymore, so I can't even give it back, which is sad. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found it as funny as I did. If you like this book, again, that's totally fine. You know, please don't take this as personally attacking you. I'm clearly not the target audience. Even though it was said it's adult, I don't think it is. I still think it's YA, and it's just a very young writing style for people who are still impressed by talking like this and by someone, you know, writing something like this. And I mean, it's not even swearing. I don't even know what it is, but whatever. I just am not impressed by this anymore. If this would be men, because the guy who said all of this was an old guy, right? Like grown-up old adult. If adult men would be like this, 95% of women in the world would die a virgin. This is not how people behave. It's just not. I'm sorry. So what I wanted to say, if you like this, that's totally fine. Please don't take my review personally. That's just my opinion on it. I just didn't vibe with it, however you want to call it. What it did, it made me laugh, so it was entertaining for me. That's something good, right? Is there a book that you want to, you know, just cringe away and laugh at? Is there something that you read where you were just sitting there like, what the hell is going on here? Ever in your life? I would love to know which book that was for you. I'm still sitting here contemplating if this is going to be the worst book that I've ever read, or Akotar, which was also similar, awful from a writing style. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me on my couch. Sorry for my for my casual appearance. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to find some more fun quotes. I'm more than happy to add them to another video. I don't think I will read the whole 800 books, so I was briefly contemplating if I should hate read the whole book and post about all the great quotes that are in here, but you know what, I just can't do it. And there are other books out there. My stick is way too big, and yeah, no. Alrighty, well, I hope that was fun for you. If not, well, bad luck, I guess. I hope I see you soon with my next video. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye.